Hope Primary School was nestled deep in the remote mountains, where transportation was difficult and visitors were few. On the rare occasion that a philanthropist came to donate, it became an event for the entire school. Teachers and students would gather, standing on the hillside, waving wildflowers in their hands to warmly welcome the guest. One day, a young man named Peter arrived at Hope Primary School. He quietly made his way to the principal's office, where Principal Oliver greeted him with a smile. "I would like to sponsor 10 of your most disadvantaged students," Peter said nervously. Oliver's face lit up with joy. "That's wonderful news. Why don't you take a moment to freshen up? I can have the students line up to welcome you properly," he suggested enthusiastically. But Peter quickly waved his hands. "No, please, that won't be necessary. I don't want to take up any more of your time." 15 minutes later, Oliver handed Peter a carefully prepared list of 10 students. "Here are the students we've selected for you," Oliver said proudly. "They are not only in need, but also academically outstanding. They are sure to become the future pillars of our country." Peter scanned the list, remaining silent for a moment. Then he spoke up. "Principal, would it be all right if I personally chose the students I want to sponsor?" Oliver was surprised, but quickly reassured Peter. "Of course, that's your right. But I can assure you, these students are the very best. If you have any doubts, you can even review their report cards from previous years." Peter smiled. "I believe you, but could you give me the list of all the disadvantaged students?" Though confused, Oliver complied and brought a list of all 30 disadvantaged students in the school. Peter took a blank sheet of paper and began carefully tearing it into small strips. On each strip, he wrote down the name of a student, crumpling each paper into a small ball and tossing it into a dish. Watching this unfold, Oliver's confusion deepened. "Wait, are you planning to draw lots to decide which students to sponsor?" Peter nodded. "Yes, I think that would be the fairest way." Alarmed, Oliver quickly intervened. No, you might accidentally pick the wrong students. Some of them are mischievous, always climbing trees or getting into fights. They barely pass any of their exams." Peter paused and looked up at Oliver. "Do they skip school?" Oliver shook his head. "No, they attend regularly. They just struggle with their studies. But otherwise, they're no different from the other children." Peter's expression softened as he replied, "In my eyes, there is no such thing as a bad child. Who's to say that the children who cause trouble today won't achieve great things tomorrow? They're just as innocent, and their hearts are filled with dreams as beautiful as anyone else's." Peter then proceeded to draw 10 names from the dish. When he finished, 4 of the names he selected were not on Oliver's original recommended list. Determined to maintain tradition, Oliver suggested holding a public donation ceremony. "It's our school's custom," he explained, but Peter shook his head gently. "Could you, instead, pass along my apologies to the other 20 disadvantaged students?" Oliver was stunned. "Apologies? I'm sorry, what do you mean?" he asked, thinking he must have misheard. Peter's eyes glistened as he spoke softly. "I'm sorry I don't have the ability to support all of them. The only reason some weren't chosen today was because of a simple twist of luck. But I promise, one day I'll come back and make it right for them." 15 years ago, in a poor village, Peter had been one of the lucky ones. He too had been sponsored by an elderly man, despite being labeled a bad child by the villagers. But it was the elderly man's words that changed Peter's life forever. "In my eyes, there is no such thing as a bad child. I love them all the same."